To the woman in the grocery store giving me a dirty look as we wait in line because my child is screaming, he's not bold, he's autistic. To the people at the amusement park frustrated because they're waiting in line and we get to jump to the front to get on a ride, my child can't wait in line, he's autistic. To the parents at the park who think my child's being rude by ignoring your child on the playground, he's not ignoring them, he's autistic. To the people who give us a dirty look as we park in a handicap spot and get my son out to hold his hand as he walks into a store, no, he's not in a wheelchair, but he is autistic. To the people who yell when they speak to him and still don't understand why he doesn't answer, he's not deaf, he's autistic. To the people who tell me they don't know how I do it, I didn't know how to do it either, until my child was born autistic. And to the people who love to tell me he looks perfectly normal, I promise you, he's autistic.
Sometimes the best tool for your ADHD could be revisiting forgotten tools. I catch myself thinking all the time, that used to work for me, but doesn't anymore. Did the tool stop working, or did you fall off of a good habit? So I sat down and I asked myself, what tools have I forgotten to use in these 5 areas of my life? 1, exercising. I used to have dedicated times to work out. Now I just go when I feel like it. I should try that again. 2, self-care. I used to listen to audiobooks while I did my cleaning around my house and keep my place tidy. Now I just clean whenever I want and my place is a mess. I should revisit that tool. 3, my nighttime routine. I used to listen to ASMR to help me fall asleep. I've been really struggling to fall asleep lately. Maybe I should try that tool again. 4, my morning routine. I used to start every single day with a glass of water and I don't drink water at all anymore. I should try that tool again. 5, staying on task. I used to light a candle while I worked so that my senses were activated while I was working. I should try that tool again. What tool do you have that you could revisit? Comment below.
Dude, I had a great idea.
Okay, see you later. Have fun. Drive safe.
Hold on, let me re-enter the room so I can try and remember the idea.
Yeah, I'll take out the trash.
I just had the idea.
Hold on, I'm on autopilot. What are we talking about?
Oh, wait, I got it. We should order,
Pizza?
Pizza. Oh my god.
Yeah, I can order some.
What were we talking about?
Did you know you could only breathe out of one nostril?
And what game is this? What are you playing?
Our parents cannot even make sense of us. Why does your son... We don't know. No one knows. Meanwhile, us ADHD kids are just out here like, oh, a button! Follow for button.
Okay, I just have a little thing for my neurodivergents out there. If you are the type of person that needs to be like doing a menial task while watching things to be able to pay attention, these like boogie board things are the best. I like to just spend time filling in the entire board because you don't really have to pay attention to it and it's pretty great. Okay, bye.
That's got too much flavour. I like it when it's bland. That hasn't got enough flavour. There needs to be a party of flavour in my mouth for me to eat this. I can't eat this.
Quick tip if you got friends with ADHD. If they're excited, having fun, full of energy, and talking, let them go. Not in the sense of like, don't be friends with them or any shit like that. I'm saying let them have that moment. They're comfortable. They're enjoying themselves. For a change, they feel accepted. So they're letting you see who they really are. The number one thing you don't want to say is any of the following sentences. Why are you so loud? Why are you talking so much? How do you have all this energy? The second you say one of those sentences to that person, they're going to hyperanalyze and overthink that statement, think they're being annoying or they're being too much, and then suddenly they don't want to be there. And the only thing you are going to see is someone's spirit break instantaneously right before your very eyes. So if you can't handle that energy or them talking like that, just excuse yourself. Don't break their fucking spirit.
I'm good, yeah, I'm feeling alright. Baby, I'ma have the best fucking night of my life.
In retrospect, this was the biggest sign that it was ADHD and not depression that I wish I would have known when talking with my doctors. I was misdiagnosed with depression for almost 2 decades before I got diagnosed with ADHD. I used to think I was like faking depression because I couldn't get myself out of bed to do the dishes, bathe myself, brush my teeth, but I could if there was something fun going on, if there was a concert, if my friends were going out and I wanted to go with them, I could do that in 2 seconds. With depression, it's a blanket loss of interest in the things that make you happy across the board. When you have ADHD, it's a dopamine deficiency. People that wake up with an adequate amount of dopamine every morning don't have to force themselves to brush their teeth and do all those things. I wish I would have known that when talking to my doctor.
What is considered a crime against food? Eating cheesecake. Context.
If you don't have ADHD, but somebody important to you does, and you're trying to improve the relationship or the connection between you and that person, especially during conversations, which is where a lot of people with ADHD get into trouble, here is some perspective for you to help better understand why that may be and some things that you can try to make it easier. Imagine an ADHD brain during conversation like a big field full of mosquitoes, thought mosquitoes. If the conversation we're having is progressing and it's evolving and we're talking about new things, or if you're telling a story and there's lots of interesting things happening, or we're reaching the end of the story, or the person with ADHD is getting to contribute, their thoughts and feelings into the matter, that's like us running through the field, right? Breeze rushing by, there's no mosquitoes, everything's good. But when we're not speaking, our job is to stand still and allow the thought mosquitoes to land on us. And it's our job to be able to listen to you and hope that the conversation is interesting enough to get a breeze to brush these mosquitoes off. But a lot of times the conversations run stagnant or redundant, or the stories aren't progressing, and the mosquitoes are landing all over us, and these thought mosquitoes are just filling our heads with all kinds of thoughts, and we're trying desperately not to swat the mosquitoes because that would be us interrupting you. And we're trying to listen, and the thought mosquitoes are landing on us, and we're just sitting here listening to your story like, I'm sure it's going to go somewhere. I'm sure we're getting somewhere. So to pass the time, we're trying to predict what the conversation is going to be. We're trying to predict what the end of the story is going to be. And sometimes we interrupt and guess what the story is going to be. And that really bothers you guys. And it's not that we don't like you or that we're not interested in you or the conversations that we're having aren't interesting. But if it was the other way around and we were trying to have a conversation with you and there were just mosquitoes landing on you, it's like, listen, if we're going to have this conversation, that's fine, but let's pick it up. Let's pick up the speed a little bit so we can get those mosquitoes off and we can both enjoy what we're talking about. And I'm not saying that you have to change who you are as a person. People with ADHD have to make their own amenities for, the rest of the world. I'm just saying that if we're going to have conversations with people with ADHD, the things that you guys can do that might help people with ADHD have better conversations. Number one would just be to get to the point. And there's no polite way to say that. I tried to think of one, but there really isn't. Just, we care about the initial setup so we understand the facts that we need to understand, and then we care about what happened. All the middle stuff doesn't really matter. And if you want to tell us, that's fine, but ultimately we're just going to try and guess what happened in the end anyway. So if you could just tell us, that would, then we could talk about the next thing, and the next thing could be just as interesting. Let's talk about as many things as we can. Number two is really important and piggybacks off of number one. Provide some sort of pause, during the conversation. We're very good at doing like a this for that, back and forth kind of thing, but it's just like we're constantly accused of interrupting people, and it's because there's just a never-ending stream of words coming out of people. It's like, of course we're going to interrupt because there's no time to say anything. And number three would be to just interrupt us if you have something that you want to say. And I know that seems contradictory to number two, but we do try to do number two on our own. It's just that our brains just go from one subject to the next because we want to talk about as many things as we have to talk about. So if there's something that you want to say, we don't care if you interrupt us. We interrupt people all the time. It's our primary form of communication. It is something that we're working on, but don't feel, that you have to say, oh, I can't believe I had to interrupt you to give. Just interrupt us. It's just how we function. And I'm not saying that you have to do things the way that we do. I'm just saying to keep in mind that every single day we're covered in mosquitoes, and it'd be nice if somebody could help slap them away with us.